guys, welcome back to my channel. Mermaid Nina here. Well, in tonight's video, we are gonna do another itinerary game plan video. And per your request, you guys have liked these videos. So thank you very much for that. I did a kids edition for Magic Kingdom, focusing on the things littles would really enjoy. You know, those rides for the younger kids, meeting the characters, cavalcades, parades, those kind of things, the things that the littles really do enjoy. And you guys have been asking for me to do them for all 4 parks, but specifically, for whatever reason, you guys have really pinpointed Hollywood Studios. So we're gonna do it tonight, guys. We are gonna do an Hollywood Studios itinerary building, game plan planning, kids edition video. Are you ready for it? Let's get into it. So just like all the other itinerary building videos, we are going to focus using Genie Plus. If you're not using Genie Plus, you can do the exact same game plan. You just might not do as many things. You might switch a few things around, but you can still attempt to do the same rides and the same type of things, right? So this isn't necessarily Genie Plus specific, but we will be using Genie Plus in terms of when I talk about the word pass. When I say to pass the next ride, I mean to get out your phone and Genie Plus pass the next ride, get a time for the next ride that you plan on doing next, or, you know, eventually in that day. That's what I'm talking about, guys. And when I say to make sure you scan in twice, I'm talking about your Magic Band. Most of these rides require you to scan in one point at the entry, and then you scan again in the middle of the queue, right? It's at that point, once you've scanned up to 2 times, that's when you can get your next Genie Plus. So when I talk about those kind of things in these videos, that's what I'm referring to. When I say to get your next pass, I'm talking about a Genie Plus pass. If you're not doing Genie Plus, then just note that that's a good ride to do for your family and just put it in your itinerary. Hopefully this makes sense. Another thing I want to point out, again, note, is the goal here is to hit those key popular rides early. Do them and get them done, especially those that get long waits. So you want to maximize these early hours as best you can and get those rides while the lines are shorter. We're actually going to save things like meeting characters or doing the shows for midday, especially those shows when we're ready for some air conditioning. Yes, that's a perfect placement for those shows. So I'm purposely not running from character to character to character right now. We're gonna save that for later. But for those of you who are curious, you know, well, what characters are at Hollywood Studios, because maybe your kiddo is interested. If you open up the app and you go to the map icon on the bottom of your screen, you can actually change the search to characters. You can filter it to Hollywood Studios, and then you can actually look at the map, spread it out with your 2 fingers, and see what characters are in the park right now and where they're located. Then when you're waiting for Genie Plus passes to start, you can kind of kill time by meeting Vampirina, meeting Darth Vader, checking out Chip and Dale, Donald and Daisy, Mick and Min, whatever you want. But rather than purposely scheduling all this time to meet them, we're gonna save that for when you're waiting for a pass. Hopefully this makes sense. All right, Genie Plus, first thing, 7 a.m. What are you guys gonna do? Well, for those of you who are interested in Slinky Dog, that is gonna be what you want a Genie Plus pass, right? Even if you have little kiddos who are not interested in that ride, even though Disney does call it a family coaster, if anyone else wants to ride it, you want to get that pass first. 7 a.m. Slinky Dog. If you want Rise of the Resistance, this is also a great time to go ahead and get that individual lightning lane for Rise of the Resistance. Again, if you have little kiddos who are not interested in Rise of the Resistance, that's okay, because if the rest of you are, then make sure you get passes for the people who want to ride these things. Basically, I'm saying Slinky Dog and Rise of the Resistance passes go quickly. They are the first passes to go. So if anyone in your party, whether it's the kiddo included or not, these are the passes you want to score first. 7 a.m. Again, resort guests, you get to do Genie Plus and individual lightning lane at 7 a.m. Those of you who are not staying on property, you do have to wait until park opening to get that individual lightning lane. So you will have to wait for Rise the Resistance, and hopefully there's still going to be passes available when it's time for you to do that. So yes, that's the first thing you're going to do. Now, if you're not interested in Slinky Dog, no one in your party wants to do Slinky Dog, then you guys are going to go ahead and Genie Plus pass Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And you're going to aim for these passes to be first thing in the morning, like as soon as you can get them. That's when you want these passes to be. For Rise of the Resistance, I would aim for after lunch, somewhere in the 1:30 to 2:30 range. And you will see why, because the flow of this particular park, we're going to be doing the Galaxy's Edge area in the afternoon after lunch. So that's why you want to save Rise of the Resistance for after lunch. That is, if you're getting an individual lightning lane for it. So hopefully this makes sense. You guys with me so far? I hope so. So it's ready. It's time to go to the park. You've gotten your Genie Pluses, your individual lightning lanes, you're showered, you brushed your teeth, you've sort of had breakfast, right? You're getting ready to go to the park. If you are a Disney Resort guest, you do want to do rope drop. Rope drop is entering the park a half an hour before park opens. For resort guests, we get in a half an hour early. So if the park is slated to open at 9, we get in at 8:30. This you definitely want to do if you can, guys, especially with those kiddos. Most people with kiddos, the kiddos are up anyway. They're so excited. They want to get to the park. So yes, get to the park as early as you can, because that will maximize, even though it's only a half an hour, you getting a few select key rides that get really long wait times. Sound good? So you've entered the park, you've rope dropped. What do you do? Well, it depends on what you Genie Plussed. If you Genie Plussed Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, then you're gonna save that until it's past time, and you are gonna book it over to Toy Story Land. If you've passed Slinky Dog, then you're gonna walk straight down Hollywood Boulevard and you're gonna do Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway first. Does this make sense? So you've either passed Mick and Min's and you're gonna wait until it's past time, or you passed Slinky Dog and you're gonna book it to Mick and Min's first. So it really depends on what you passed. But essentially, if you did Slinky, you're gonna do Mick and Min's first. If you passed Mick and Min's, you're gonna head towards the Slinky area and you're actually gonna do Toy Story Mania. It's a fun little video game, shooting game. All the kiddos love it. It's one of my son's favorite games, to the point that every time on his birthday, we have to go to Hollywood Studios and we will ride Toy Story Mania a few times because it is one of his favorites. While you're in the area for Toy Story Mania, if you have time, you can go ahead and hit up Alien Swirling Saucers. It's a fun little rotational ride that does do some spinning, but of course it's Toy Story themed and the kiddos like it. So while you're in the Toy Story area, you want to hit up all that stuff as much as you can. If you didn't pass Slinky, then you don't have to worry about it. Go ahead and skip that ride when you're done with Toy Story. Hopefully, it's about time for your Mick and Min's. You're going to cross on over. It's right nearby, and you're going to go do your Mick and Min's pass. If you did Mickey and Minnie's first because you're waiting for your Slinky pass, when you're done with Mick and Min's, you're gonna do the reverse. You're gonna go do Toy Story Land. Does this make sense? So for those of you who passed Mick and Min's, because it's not past time yet, you're gonna go do Toy Story Land. For those of you who passed Slinky Dog, you're gonna ride Mick and Min's first, then do Toy Story. So you guys are just kind of flipping depending on what you passed. Eventually, come early morning, right, everyone should have ridden Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Toy Story Mania, possibly Slinky Dog if your pass came in about that time, and hopefully Alien Swirling Saucers. Does this make sense? Are you guys all with me? So depending on who passed what and when and the times and the whole shebang, the goal is to get Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Toy Story Mania, and possibly Alien Swirling Saucers, maybe Slinky Dog, all within that early morning time frame. They are all really next door to each other. The Toy Story Land stuff is in a nice little cluster, right? Because it's Toy Story Land. Next to it is Mick and Min. So as long as you kind of focus on those few things early morning, you will be good to go. So once you've done all those things. And let's just say it's time to pass again. If you get to the point where you rode something that was a Genie Plus pass and it's time to pass again, you have a couple of options. You could pass the Frozen sing-along. It's really up to you. At this point, we're basically waiting for lunch, right? So pass what you can, what you're interested in the area. Right next to Mick and Min is the Frozen sing-along. Directly behind it is where you can meet Mickey and Minnie over there on the red carpet. And right next to Frozen is where you can meet Olaf. So depending on what you're interested in and the times and the passes and the whole shebang, those are the things you want to focus on next. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so then once you've either done Frozen, right, or you met Mick and Min's, whatever it is, as it's getting close to lunchtime, do whatever you can fit in that time period. After you rode Mickey and Minnie's and did Toy Story, and then you met Mickey and Minnie and possibly Olaf and Frozen, you got that, and then hopefully it's lunchtime. If you have littles, I totally suggest you get reservations over at Hollywood and Vine. If you get them before lunchtime, you can actually meet Disney Junior characters. If you book lunch or dinner at Hollywood and Vine, you're gonna get Minnie and Daisy and Mickey and Donald, and they're gonna be all dressed up in whatever their seasonal outfit is for the time. But that is the character meal over at Hollywood Studios. I totally suggest you do it for lunch or a super late breakfast, practically lunchtime. That way you can maximize the park and do all those key rides first thing in the morning and then have lunch when it's time for you to kind of have a break. Does this make sense? So while you're at lunch, this is a great time for you to kind of explore what you want to do next in the day. So assuming you passed Frozen, by the time you did that double click, right, you can pass again. So after you did whatever you did, you can go ahead and pass the Falcon. That's right, the Millennium Falcon, because our game plan has us hitting up Star Wars Galaxy's Edge after lunch, which is why I said if you're getting individual lightning lane for Rise of the Resistance, do it after lunch, because with the clusters that is the Hollywood Studios park, that's what we're gonna do next. So we focused on the right-hand side, the upper right-hand corner. We did Toy Story, Mick and Min. We're moving ourselves over Frozen. Then we're gonna do lunch, Hollywood Studios. Then we're gonna work back to the upper left-hand corner and do Star Wars. So hopefully you had a great lunch, right? You passed the Falcon. While you're waiting to ride the Falcon, hopefully it's Rise of the Resistance time or vice versa. If you still have a bunch of time to kill, go ahead and do Muppets 3D. It never has a long wait. You don't need to pass it. Just kind of do it when you need something to do while you're waiting for something, right? So go ahead and hit up Muppets if it's not time for Rise of the Resistance or your Millennium Falcon yet. Also, while you're in the Star Wars area, if you have a kiddo who wants to build a droid, that's right, they are $120 something at this point. Make sure you do that for the same time period after lunch if you can, because you're already in the Star Wars area. No point in going back and forth. Just kind of plan everything around that post-lunch 2:30, 3 o'clock time slot. So hopefully within that area, you've done Rise of the Resistance, Millennium Falcon, perhaps you built a droid. Hopefully you found Chewie or Rey or a Stormtrooper or something. And then we're gonna move on. So once you've done Star Wars and you're ready to move on, we're gonna hit up the Indiana Jones stage show. So when you were on the Falcon, remember I said to pass the Falcon? While you were on the Falcon, once you've scanned in those 2 times, you can pass again. This is a good time for you to go ahead and pass the Indiana Jones stage show. Now, you don't really need to pass the stage show. The only reason I like to is because they put you in a different seating area, which is usually closer. So that's why I kind of like to use my pass for Indiana Jones if I can. So while you're on the Falcon and you passed Indiana Jones, once you are done in the Star Wars area, you're gonna backtrack a little bit and go do Indiana Jones. It's an awesome stage show. There's fire, there's fighting, there's weapons. It's a great show. Little kiddos usually love it. So yes, that's why I suggest that. After you've checked in for the Indiana Jones stage show, which again might be 1 or 2 clicks on that magic band, you get to pass again. This is a good time for you to attempt to pass the Beauty and the Beast show. So you could pass the Disney Junior Dance Party as well, but that usually doesn't have very much of a wait and the times are so frequently and you might as well pass something. So I say to go ahead and pass Beauty and the Beast. Of course, if you still haven't done Alien Swirling Saucers or anything like that and you want to backtrack a little bit, go ahead and pass any of those things or any of those rides. But essentially for this video, I'm going to tell you to go ahead and pass Beauty and the Beast. Make sense? So after you're done with Indiana Jones, right, you already have a Beauty and the Beast pass waiting, you're going to go ahead and backtrack a little bit, almost going towards Toy Story, the Toy Story area. You're going to go do the Disney Junior Play and Dance Show. Kiddos absolutely love this. While you're in the area, maybe you can meet Vampirina or Fancy Nancy or whatever character is over there in that area. And of course, if you aren't Disney Junior Dance Party people, maybe you want to go to the Star Wars launch bay and check out all the models and all the technical stuff behind the Star Wars movies and possibly meet a few Star Wars characters over there, perhaps Darth Vader, Kylo Ren, Chewbacca, and so on. So you can do the Disney Junior Play and Dance, or you can do the Star Wars launch bay, or do them both, depending on when your Beauty and the Beast time is, and depending on if this stuff's important to you. You could have gotten a later in the afternoon Beauty and the Beast stage show time. So again, all depends on what you're interested in is what you do. Once you've done Disney Junior, Star Wars, whatever you want to do, met the characters in the area, and you're still killing time, you can go ahead and go over to the Lightning McQueen area. That is another, it's totally not a ride, it's an attraction. It's a really cool attraction for those littles who really love the Cars movies. You can do this on the way to Beauty and the Beast, and you can do it on the way back from Beauty and the Beast, whatever works per your schedule. So does this make sense? Post lunch, we've done Star Wars, The Falcon, Rise of the Resistance, perhaps you built a droid, may or may not have done Muppets 3D. Then you have done Indiana Jones, right, the stage show. You possibly have done Disney Junior Dance Party or the Star Wars launch bay or both. You may have met a few characters along the way. Now we're gonna stick to the Lightning McQueen attraction, or Beauty and the Beast stage show. One before, one after, doesn't really matter. They're kind of in the same area-ish. Once you've done both of those, we're getting towards evening time at this point, possibly close to dinner. You're also kind of back to the front of the park. That's right, so that's it. Hopefully, you guys have done everything you wanted to do. Again, you adults, if you wanted to do something I didn't mention like Star Tours, then fit it into your schedule. This was me focusing on things little kiddos like. Little girls, boys as well, love the Frozen sing-along. Most people enjoy the Beauty and the Beast sing-along for the same reasons. And of course, everyone loves the Indiana Jones stage show. Hollywood Studios, because of the name of its park, does have these fun stage shows. And of course, we did the Mick and Minns, the Toy Story area, the Star Wars rides, and all those things in between. But once you've made yourself back to the front of the park, you have a couple of options, right? You can stay and hang out and hopefully Fantasmic will be back, or you can stay for the evening projection show and maybe ride a few things you never got to ride. Alien Swirling Saucers, Star Tours, stuff like that. Perhaps parents want to do Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, all up to you guys. Or my family, we like to kick it a little early and go ahead and hop over to Disney Springs and have dinner at Blaze Pizza. So we like to finish off our Hollywood Studios day with Blaze Pizza and some dessert. If you're staying on the Skyliner, you can just kick it back to your resort, super easy. Go play in your pool. So you have some options. You can also, like I said, backtrack, go meet some more characters you didn't get to meet. Go back to Galaxy's Edge and do the Magic Band Galaxy's Edge bounty hunting thing over there. All that good stuff. And of course, if you see a cavalcade while you're walking around the park, just stop and watch the cavalcade. I didn't really put that into the schedule because we never really stop and wait for them. Once we've heard one coming, then we stop and we watch, but we don't really like stand on the curb and are like, ooh, cavalcade. We kind of just let life happen a little bit. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully this video made sense and helped you out. So basically the morning is the confusing part because it just depends on what you passed based on what you do. But once you've gotten towards the afternoon, assuming you've already done the Slinky, the Mick and Minns, and the Toy Story, then you just kind of filter through as you go throughout the park. The interesting thing about Hollywood Studios, because it's kind of based in clusters, you can do this really any way you want. You could actually start with Star Wars first and then do the other things. Because Mick and Min and Toy Story Mania are usually in the 65 to 90 minute wait time, Alien Swirling Saucers can get up to 45 minutes. I like to just get that stuff out of the way. Because it's like boom, 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 3 or 4 rides in a row, I like to just get them out of the way first thing in the morning and then kind of mix in shows, right? Sitting down, kids love to kind of sit down, and then a ride, and then you sit down, and then a ride, and then you sit. Does that kind of make sense? Anyway, I hope you guys are with me with this video, and hopefully, you know, it made some sense. And then for those of you looking for food thoughts, there are 2 sit-down restaurants that I love for kiddos over at Hollywood Studios. Again, Hollywood and Vine is the only character meal in that park. I also love Sci-Fi Dine-In, which is where you're sitting in kind of these vintage 1950s drive-in cars, and then they play like sci-fi commercials and things for you to watch. Again, you're entertaining the kiddos while you're eating. If you're looking for kind of a quick meal, I do love Woody's Lunchbox. Kiddos love tots, right? And tachos, and even, you know, like a Pop-Tart pastry. I love the Mickey pretzel cart that is near Mick and Min's if you need a little snack. And then I love ABC Commissary for just your simple American fare. Kids usually love burgers, fries, chicken tenders, and whatnot. As much as I love personally eating in Galaxy's Edge, I've heard a lot of parents complain that their kiddos aren't really fond of that type of food. So just kind of know that in advance. Again, you can look at your app, you can search the name of the restaurant, you can check out the menu in advance. If you don't think your kid's gonna eat there, then don't bother. Find a place that you know your kiddo will eat. Because as I say kind of at Disney, happy kiddo, happy mom. That's kind of how I feel. I mean, I'm not spoiling my kids to craziness, but when they're happy, I'm happy, because when they're not happy, no one's happy. So yeah, I try to keep the kiddos entertained and busy and happy as best I can. And it's up to you to decide if your kiddos need a break. Hollywood Studios can be kind of a hard park to take a mid-afternoon break. It really just depends on where your resort is located. Some resorts can be quite far away, plus a lot of this stuff kind of gets crazy fast. So that's why I like to focus on those key things early in the morning, get them done, and then if you don't really get to do some of this other stuff because you did have to go back early for a nap, then it's not that big of a deal because you already did Toy Story Mania, you already did Mick and Min's, you already did your Star Wars, right? So hopefully this makes sense, guys. And as always, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. If the subscribe button is red, please click it, turn it gray. The bell icon for notifications, like this video, and comment. I know this video was very similar to the one that wasn't the kids edition, but I added things in here that weren't in the other video, and because I related this more to kids. Was this helpful? Do you want me to do Epcot and Animal Kingdom as well? I already have Magic Kingdom. Like I said, let me know in the comments. If these are videos that you guys want, then I absolutely have no problem making them for you. But yeah, as always, guys, mahalo for watching. Nina out. Bye, guys.